Welcome to Company Showcase, an advertising feature on HowStreet.com.
I'm Jim Goddard. I'm speaking with Larry Reaugh, CEO and President of American Manganese. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Always great to be on the show, Jim.
Larry, your stock has been up the last few days. Is that a happy story?
Oh, yeah. It's, we're getting some buying coming in that has moved the stock up. We haven't had a press release in a couple of weeks, so that always takes the stock down, by the way, Jim. It seems that that brings the guys that want to bash the stock down out of the woodwork, and they just basically close us down on the day, and to try to make it look like we had a feeble release, which is not factual at all. But let's not go into that negative territory. It's the shares are starting to get recognized. Certainly, the European market is recognizing us a lot more. And I know there was a piece out on us today that came out of Europe, out of Germany for that matter. And those are the sorts of things we'd like to see, as third-party validation and saying things about the company that I like to hear. So I may or may not attach that to the podcast, but we certainly will. If I can get it done in time, we will certainly attach that to the podcast. So other than that, there's been a few things that have happened that are off the wall, not necessarily directly what we do, but indirectly would be very beneficial to us. And one is the Russian war games off the coast of Hawaii, where they've got several ships and aircraft and all kinds of things. They're going to sink an aircraft carrier. They've been as close to Hawaii as 35 miles, although the main activity is going on out about 300 miles. So it's quite well funded. It's got a lot of things that you'd use in wartime. Planes, boats, destroyers, all those things to sink this one aircraft carrier. So now, what does that mean? Well, does it mean that Russia or Putin is basically saying flexing their muscles, or is it just that? Is it a subtle message to the U.S.? And then just yesterday, it was the day before, a British destroyer had a run-in with the Russians, and they fired quite a few warning shots over their bow and everything like that back in the Mediterranean. And none of that stuff hits the news. And again, so it tells me, is Putin flexing his muscles, or is this a warning that he can be on your doorstep in no time flat? Is this a warning that he can blockade the shipments of, for example, manganese or battery metals to the U.S., which has very little, no production of it, certainly no production of manganese. And remember that manganese is critical. It's not just for batteries. It's more critical for steel, making of steel. You can't make steel without it. The old saying, you can't make steel without manganese, and if you can't make steel, the world stops, is very true. And, the military certainly needs a lot of steel. The industry, manufacturing cars, bridges, anything like that, they need steel. And you can't make steel without manganese. So, that should be a wake-up call to the U.S., even though we are doing work on the Wendon stockpile, and that's with the DLA, and it's being funded by the DLA, and we've been shipping results to them, and we'll have news on that when it's approved to do so. So, we got a lot of things on the go, but we happen to be in the center of the storm, the way I see it, with with manganese and the production of manganese metal or dioxide. And, we're just in the center of all of that. We're certainly well known by the U.S. government, and not only in the manganese sector, but we also have that collaboration going on with the Department of Energy and the Critical Materials Institute. So, we're in the right place at the right time, and I think that anything can ignite the stock, because, we are, even though, we've had a lot of publications out there. We've been published in Bloomberg and Reuters and all those magazines. We don't seem to have quite the recognition I thought we would have by this time, but I think that picture is changing rapidly. And, we've worked hard to come up with a solution that is just a straight line from cathode to cathode, which means that by the time we get through recycling cathode material, it goes at the end of the line. It can go directly into a battery, and so we sidestep a lot of transportation, a lot of cross-border stuff where you have to send your stuff to a not a battery manufacturer, but a cathode manufacturer, and most of this chemical work is done in China. China's really tightened their grip on everything that the free world needs, and that's not a good thing, because China is, they could certainly flex their muscles at any time too. So, it's but for the shareholders and all that, I think that we're in a perfect position to help out and to assist and to build supplies of manganese, to build up recycling plants. I'd like to say specifically in the U.S., but we seem to get romanced more by Europe, who's much more aggressive on that. And it's a nice place to be. It's not exactly like we are a forgotten hero. I mean, the fact is that we've had a lot of stuff published on us. I remember when we did the economic standard publications, we totaled about 250,000 reviews on those, and we're getting ready to publish again in the economic standard. And so it depends on the mood and the way the people feel, and if they're attracted to what we have to say, how many views we get then. But I'm betting on the higher side of 250,000. So it's not like we're sitting on our hands here watching the sun dry the lawns out. It's more like it's fighting off the heat and keeping our nose to the grindstone. So I'm optimistic, very optimistic about our future. And I did say in the last podcast last week that we would that we have a V-shaped recovery, and that is still going on. If you look at the charts, you'll see that. And I think that we'll surpass old highs, and because why wouldn't I? I mean, I think we've got the answer to a problem that is only going to get larger and larger when most of these batteries go into landfills and smelters. It's if we can solve that problem, then I think we've got the big advantage. And and this is all my opinions, Jim. It's not like it's written in stone or anything like that. But as a CEO, I have opinions, and I think we're on the right track, and I think we're moving swiftly to close any gaps.
Larry, what's the latest on your pilot plant?
Well, the pilot plant is working. We're waiting for results. Sometimes we have to get third-party verifications, and especially when it comes to the back end of our pilot plant, where the morphology is concerned, and we have to send that out for X-ray photographing and everything like that to arm's length In this case, it would be the University of BC. And so we have to wait till they can turn the results around so we can make an announcement. And as far as the manganese stuff goes, we have to send out verifications on the level of purity and everything else that we're doing with the manganese. So there hasn't been any news. It's not that there's not work going on, and there will be news. But that's glad you asked that question. Oh, and as on the ending here, I'd like just like to say that I saw some headlines today where Panasonic had sold their position of I think it was a 1.1 or 1.4 million shares of Tesla that they paid $21 for back in 2010. So that's a tremendous amount of money. Suddenly going back into Panasonic, it didn't hurt the Tesla thing at all. And, so Panasonic, will be looking at building another factory here soon on their own.
Larry, for people new to American Manganese, what's the company all about?
American Manganese is a critical metals company that developed a patented process for the treatment of very low grades of manganese, 2 to 3%, to make electrolytic manganese metal or electrolytic manganese dioxide. We completed a pre-feasibility study. It was a race to the bottom. The price was going down. At the same time, we were getting results from the pre-feasibility study to the point where it would have taken 11 years to repay $500,000 investment. I think it was $480,000 or something. Not $500,000, $500 million investment. I think it was around $480 million. But luckily we moved on to looking at recycling the cathode materials and lithium-ion batteries. And our proof of concept showed that we were on the right path. And since then, we've spent $10 or $11 million proving up that concept, filing 2 patents and applications in 7 other countries, one of which has already approved us, and that's Korea. So that was a lifeline to the company, and also certainly to the environment, because that was foremost in our mind. It was when we were working on manganese. We had a dry tailings, and we had sufficient use of water as you could get where you're out in the Arizona desert, where you lose a lot to evaporation and everything like that, but we didn't use any crystallization. And so we maintained as much water in the circuit as we could, and we ended up maybe using a third that we would have if we used a wet process of tailings. So that was the gist of all that.
Larry, how can people get more information about American Manganese, and where are you traded?
Okay, American Manganese has a website called AmericanManganeseInc.com that is very transparent, has all the results and everything that we've had on our process. And they were traded in the Venture Exchange, the Toronto Venture Exchange, under the symbol AMY. We're traded in the U.S. under QB board under the symbol AMYZF. And we're traded in Frankfurt under the symbol of 2AM.
Larry, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome, Jim.
I've been speaking with Larry Reaugh, CEO and President of American Manganese. I'm Jim Goddard. Our conversation took place on June 25th.
Comments made on Company Showcase are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at HowStreet.com. Company Showcase is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.